Hey, welcome back to lIHITRO Bank. My name is Adam. Let me start with a truth that sounds strange until you really think about it. Some of the richest tech companies in the world are built on things they do not own. They use open source, code anyone can see, tools anyone can use, communities anyone can join. Yet people still make serious money around it. That is open source economics. And if you understand it correctly, you can build salary like income without owning traditional assets or inventing something new. Most people misunderstand open source. They think free means no money. That belief alone stops them from seeing one of the most powerful income models in tech. Open source does not remove money. It moves money. Instead of charging for ownership, you charge for value around it. Support, customization, setup, education, maintenance, trust. That is where income lives. Let me explain this in simple terms. Open source gives everyone access to tools, but not everyone has the time, skills, or patience to use them properly. Businesses do not pay for tools. They pay for outcomes. If you can turn open source tools into reliable outcomes, people will pay you. Now, let me explain how rich people see this. They do not ask, how do I protect this? They ask, how do I build around this? They understand that distribution, trust, and execution matter more than secrecy. That is why open source economics favors builders, not hoarders. Now, let me break down how this works in real life. Someone releases an open source tool, a framework, a platform, a library. The tool spreads because it is free and useful. A community forms. Most people in that community struggle with setup optimization, scaling, or maintenance. That struggle creates demand. People who understand the tool deeply step in. They offer services. They offer consulting. They offer support contracts. They offer training. They offer integrations. That becomes income. And because the tool is widely used, the demand does not disappear. This creates salary like stability, not from ownership, from usefulness. Now, let me make this very practical. You do not need to create open source software. You can participate in open source ecosystems. Learn popular open source tools. Understand how businesses use them. Solve problems around them. That is it. Examples include website platforms, data tools, automation frameworks, analytics tools, content systems, developer tools, AI frameworks. These tools are powerful but complex. Complexity creates opportunity. Now, let me explain why this works so well for people with limited resources. Open source removes the cost barrier. You do not need expensive licenses. You do not need capital. You invest time learning. Time turns into expertise. Expertise turns into trust. Trust turns into income. That is the economic engine. Now, let me talk about community collaboration. Open source communities are gold. People share problems. They ask questions. They reveal pain points publicly. If you pay attention, you will never run out of ideas. The smartest people do not rush to sell. They help. They answer questions. They contribute fixes. They write guides. They become visible. Visibility creates authority. Authority attracts opportunities. This is how people get clients without cold selling. Now, let me be honest about why most people miss this. They think money only comes from ownership. They think if it is free, it is worthless. But free distribution is leverage. Open source spreads faster than closed products. That creates larger markets. Larger markets mean more service demand. This is why companies built around open source thrive. They sell reliability. Businesses do not want uncertainty. They want someone accountable. That someone can be you. Now, let me explain the mindset difference. Poor thinking asks, how do I protect my work? Rich thinking asks, how do I make myself essential? Open source makes the work free, but it makes people valuable. If you are the person who understands the system deeply, you become hard to replace. That is job security without employment. Now, let me ground this in reality. This is not passive income. This is leverage income. You trade learning for long-term demand. Once you specialize in a tool or ecosystem, you get repeat work. Businesses upgrade. Problems evolve. Systems grow. They come back to you. That creates predictable income. Now let me address fear. Some people worry that open source competition is too high. But competition does not eliminate demand. It increases it. More users means more problems. More problems mean more work. Most people quit early. Those who stay become known. Known beats skilled. Now let me connect this to tech trends. AI open source tools are exploding. Automation frameworks are growing. Data tools are expanding. Communities are forming faster than ever. This is the best time in history to use open source economics. You do not need to invent. You need to integrate. You do not need to disrupt. You need to support. Now, let me summarize the core idea in one sentence. Open source lets you borrow distribution, so you can sell value. That is powerful. If you are starting with nothing, this model is perfect. No capital, no gatekeepers, just skill, community, and consistency. If you want, I can make the next video showing specific open source tools people make money around, or how to build credibility inside open source communities, or how to turn open source knowledge into recurring income instead of one-time gigs. Comment below what you want next, and I will make that video for you. Subscribe to the channel if you want realistic tech income models explained without hype. Like the video so it reaches more builders, and tell me which open source tool you are curious about learning first. I will see you in the next one.